What's up, Kryptiox? This is Andrew.
This is Beaton.
Alright guys, so basically when you become ranked mayor and you get your very own city, you're going to want to know how do you create subplots and how do you sell it to the other players. So we're going to run you through all that in this video. Basically, to be able to create a region, you need to be the owner of the city. So when you have a city made for you, you have the boundaries set up and you can do this inside the boundaries of that city that you now own. Right, so you won't be able to go into the wilderness and create plots and that sort of stuff. What you want to do is use a stick, so that's the tool, and you want to first select the area of the area of the plot that you want to sell. So you left click with the stick in the first corner, and then run over to the other corner, which might take 5 years depending how big your plots are. And then when you find the other corner, you right click. And you can see I'm using a mod here called World Edit CUI, and you guys can download this as well. It's really useful to know what you've actually selected, because to create the subplots we're using World Edit selections. So as you can see with the grid, we now have this whole plot area selected. So the next command you want to use is /ss create and then the name of the region. So what's the name, Veeden?
We'll just set it for like plot 1 right now, probably.
Yeah, so just for example, we'll do ss create plot 1. And there you go, it'll come up and say region name plot 1. Owner Andrew's Panda, that's because I'm the one that created it. It tells you all the coordinates, the size of the plot, so it's 26 by 25 blocks, and the height of it. You'll notice that the height is 257. That's because we have it set up so when you create the plot, it automatically regions it from bedrock all the way up to sky limit. And we think that's pretty handy. It'll save a lot of time trying to create. It'll save a lot of time typing another command to make a maximum region selection. Right, and that's creating the plot. If you want to confirm that it's created, or you want to get the information of the plot you just made, you do /plot info, and they'll come up and say plot 1, the owner, any flags if they're set. But because you're going to have all the flags, like PvP off and all that sort of stuff, set to this main city region, it'll automatically apply it to these smaller regions. So you don't have to worry about setting flags for this. It'll automatically have PvP off and mob spawning off and all that sort of gear. So it's really handy like that. What else?
You can also do plot info -s.
Alright, yeah, so if you do have the World Edit CUI mod installed where you can see this awesome grid, you can do plot info and -s. And that'll actually show you the selection of the plot that you're in. So not only will it give you the information, but it'll say your plot is this big. And as you can see, it goes all the way up to sky limit, which is quite enormous now. It's pretty cool. Alright, now for creating signs. So once you have your plot made, you want to create a sign on it to be able to sell it to the other players. Because all you want them to be able to do is come up, see they want this plot, right click the sign, and it's theirs, right? So place a sign. On the first line you want to have for sale. Then on the second line you want to put how much you want to sell the plot for. So let's say you're selling the plot for $1,000. And then on the third line you need to put the name of the plot that you just created. So because you're selling plot 1 and that's the name you gave it, you put plot 1. And then you click done. And you'll have a little message pops up down the bottom and it'll say successfully created for sale sign. You put region plot 1 up for sale for $1,000, which is what we chose. And if the region is sold, the profits are for Andrew's Panda, because I created the sign and I'm the owner of the region. Basically, whoever's the owner of the city is going to get the profit for the plot sold. So if you have a co-owner, let's say both me and Veeton own the city, then when one of these plots are sold, we get the money split in half, and the plugin automatically does that, which is pretty cool. You can also only place the sign inside of the region that you're selling, so you can't put the sign out here. You can only put it inside the actual bounds of the plot you're selling. Okay, I got Veeton to become the owner of the plot so he could create a for sale sign, so I could demonstrate what happens when you buy the sign. But obviously he thinks it's funny to try and rip me off. $214 million, maybe even more than that. I think that's $2 billion or something. That's ridiculous. Alright, do you want to... Okay, we'll demonstrate the other thing. When you have a sign on your plot and you don't want it to be for sale anymore, you can actually break the sign. And then it won't be for sale. No one can come along and buy it. It'll just reset it back to normal. So Veton would have got a message then saying that his plot's no longer for sale because the last for sale sign for that plot's been destroyed. So if I was just casually walking along, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to buy this plot. Right click the sign, and you get a whole bunch of information down the bottom. In particular, it'll say the owner. It'll also say the cost of the region, so you can see cost is $100K, and the message disappeared, there you go. And it also says you can afford this region, and it tells you how much money you have left after you buy it, and I reckon that's a pretty cool feature. So to buy it, you've got to be looking at the sign, and you type self-service buy. You'll notice that when the plot's bought, the sign drops to the ground and it pulls up a message and it says you bought region plot 1 for $100K from Veton, and he'll get a message as well as the owner of the city, and it'll tell him that someone's bought one of his plots, and it'll automatically put the money from my account into his account.
When you're also setting up for sale signs, you can also set up multiple signs on the plot if you want.
Now, co-owners of the city are possible, so you can make any rank a co-owner of the city by typing plot, add owner, your city name, and then the player's name. So let's say, for example, Kryptiox, and then Veton. So that would make him owner of the city as well. Now, it doesn't matter what rank he is, but he will only be able to create and sell subplots if he's a mayor or a king himself, because he only gets those abilities when he ranks up to those levels. So that's just a basic rundown of how to create subplots and how to sell them to players. This is Andrew.
And this is Veton.
And we'll catch you in game.